change it as well. This may change it.
True.
Hey, YouTubers. Hey, guys hanging out there in the chat room. This is Dave. I'm sitting here with Jim. We're talking about cameras and Surface Pro 3s, throughput, Google plugins, and all of that good fun business. I may just have to do this camera.
Yeah.
And this is all, my mannerisms are going to be like this. So I was doing this.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Okay, so here's the scoop, guys. So we're live. This is the podcast. We might as well. Let me give this a second to see if this fleshes itself out. I apologize for the video.
Make sure you just don't disappear like you did on me 2 weeks ago. Like
right.
We were talking and then away.
You know, that was double-edged sword. Double-edged sword. I do believe that we ran into this very issue at the same time the internet went out.
Yeah, and an ISP issue, right? At the same time.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, let me do this. Bam. Okay. Well, I think we're good.
Yeah. Seems like it.
Okay. I've got, my notes are, where? Why is 265? Where are my notes? Oh, is it under cloud episode?
Yeah, it's cloud episode.
Is that where I put Otixo at?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll just load both of those documents.
Yeah. And I threw the links to my stuff down below.
Oh, I need to check this. Why did it grab this link? This surveillance beta. That is not the link. It's the DS. Hopefully this went live.
So Lopta's looking at my name tag. It says generous. We had a campaign at work, a fundraising campaign at work, and so as part of at the end of it, they gave away these T-shirts, and so I wear this around sometimes. Super comfortable shirt, and sometimes when I'm out in public, people have been like, "Hey, your name tag still you still got." I'm like, "That's part. It's part of the shirt."
T-shirt.
It says generous.
Okay, we're gonna close tabs if we don't need them. Gonna be a cloudy show. Joe M said he had to turn us down. Well, last time I got complaints about the audio, so we're really...
But we're not peaking, are we? That'd be good to know.
Yeah, are we... Vinyl Freak says 720p. Vinyl Freak and everybody out there, we're worried about my camera. I want to go live, and I want to explain this to you. Lopta says, speak up, Dave. Well... How about this? How's this level right here?
You're good on my end. Maybe it's...
Okay.
Yeah. The last couple weeks, you have been, like, I listened to you on Surface Geeks the last time you did it, and you were quieter. I mean, I know that makes sense than Darren. Just because he's loud.
Well, last week, I don't know why the levels were so off, but they were really, really off. Okay.
Tim says we send. Okay.
Okay, so we're going to go. So let's get this going. The good thing is we don't have any show behind us, so we can stretch our legs and hang out.
Oh, no Surface Geeks tonight?
No geeks.
Oh, sweet. Okay. I'm sure we'll get some of them to join us. Well, no, because it's a Wednesday night. It's like old school.
Yeah. No, I didn't tell anybody. Just kicked them to the curb. Just kicked them right out. Said, go away. I'm mad at your Surface Pro 3. And I'm going to complain about it on my other podcast. All right, here we go. I need some. Episode 265, yeah. All right. This is the Home Server Show, episode number 265, recorded on July the 16th, 2014. Welcome back to the Home Server Show. I'm your host, David McCabe, joined by Mr. Jim Collison, fellow MVP. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, Dave. Happy Wednesday night to you. It's been a long time since...
Is it Wednesday?
It's Wednesday night.
We're sitting here on a Wednesday?
I know. It's like old school. It's like bringing back the band. Pretty excited about it. So
okay, so here's the deal, Jim. I just asked you quickly in text. I was like, is this Tuesday, Wednesday thing okay? And you're like, man, I've never really adjusted Tuesday.
It was
So-
tough. That was hard for me. We spent 3 years. I mean, rearranging my entire life.
Your
so
life is
I could
around this
podcast
show.
on Wednesdays, and then we moved it to Tuesdays, and it just never felt right. And if you need to stay on Tuesdays, it's fine, by the way. But
Well,
it was
never-
just hard.
It never felt right to me either.
It was
So-
weird.
Okay, here's the thing. It snuck up on me. It's like, oh, God, it's Monday night. I podcast
Exactly.
tomorrow.
Exactly. Yeah,
And then-
it was too early.
The cool thing for me, though, because I know you podcast on Thursdays, but the cool thing for me, though, when it was over, was like, wow, I got this
True.
whole week in front of me
Yep.
to do
Yep.
whatever I want. I can tear up anything I want on the website. So, okay, that's it. We're going Wednesday.
Oh, sweet. All right.
I'm sure the DMZ guys will be like, yes, finally, they're getting off of our Tuesday.
Mike Howard will be happy too because he's also another Tuesday podcaster.
That's it. So, we're doing it partially in part for them because I'd like to do it for the DMZ guys.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so we'll be Wednesday nights. Surface Geeks, I don't know. We're gonna have to figure out some Surface Geek stuff. Speaking of, they're a little bit on my bad side, but hey, follow us, Home Server Show, on Twitter. So twitter.com/homeservershow. I need to see you in those forums. homeservershow.com/forums. So get out there and do that. Twitter wall is going while we are live. All you have to do is tweet the show. It will show up right behind me. You'll see your name. You'll see everything on light. Somebody's already screen capped to me, and I'm just going to retweet that and send that out. So Twitter wall is always fun while we are going live. So here's the deal. We need to look up a little bit of Meetup because, Jim, to be honest with you, I haven't been following it. I'll get a tweet every once in a while. Oh, yeah. I'm not on Chrome. What? What
That's-
am I going to do?
Isn't that a pain when you switch browsers? I mean,
What am
it's-
I gonna
it's
do?
Almost like switching computers. You're like, you stutter. you know, when you're, it's ugly to switch
Okay,
over.
here's the thing. I'm on the Surface Pro 3, right? You guys know that I sold my Surface Pro 2. And here's the deal. I beta tested the Surface Pro 3 for a month, but I never put it in like a desktop environment. I failed. I not only failed my forums, but I failed myself in not testing it in the true form in which I'm going to use it. I can't believe that I did this. So we get it here 2 weeks ago, and I figured it out, Jim. I figured this thing out. What is happening is the Surface Pro 3 is so thin. There's a Core i5 processor inside of this little thin piece of machinery, and it's different than the Pro 2. The Pro 2 was thick, and it had fans on each side of the processor. They would spin up. It sounded like a Boeing 797, leaving the airport right in front of your house. But the damn thing worked. I mean, this thing's rock solid, the Surface Pro 2. Say what you want to about the size, what it looks like. I don't care. It's rock solid desktop replacement. So I sell it. Boom, it's gone. It's out the door. And I plop down Surface Pro 3 the day I get it into my desktop spot. And it's now my desktop. Things are working good for a while. And then I load Chrome. And then I load a Hangout. And Chrome and Hangout spikes my processor, spikes the temperature like crazy. I'm running at 65 degrees Celsius right now. My processor, which can run, it will ramp up to 2.5 gigahertz, is now at 1.8. So I'm taxing it, yet it's keeping up. It's finally figured out that it's cooled itself down, Jim. I don't know if the HD video has come back, but hopefully the audio will keep up with what we're doing. So here's the thing. I figured out how to take the battery off of battery saver mode. You put it in battery saver mode, man, it sticks at like 800 megahertz. Forget about it. You're not getting any horsepower out of it. So I figured out how to take it out of that, and you put it into performance mode. Well, performance mode, you're going to get about 45 seconds of performance mode. And then it's going to hit this thermal ceiling. And when it hits this thermal ceiling, the firmware in this tablet says, I'm too hot. I'm going to cut down the multiplier on that CPU in order to conserve energy and hopefully cool myself down, allow my fans to work. And there is not a thing you can do about it. Now, there's a lot of folks out there that are undervolting. So they will undervolt and they get a little more time. But right now, I don't see any way out of this. And so what I've done is, if we were in Chrome right now, Jim, the podcast would be over. It literally would be over. So I switched over to Internet Explorer. It is being nicer to me. But it's still Google. It still taxes the processor like crazy. So
Chrome is just a hog. I mean, I love it. I'm in it all the time, but it's brutal.
So I either have to switch to a desktop and use this as a laptop tablet, or figure something out. I have to figure something out. I mean, honestly, I wanted this as my desktop replacement, and so far I'm not having a very good time with it.
Well, Dave, it does speak to kind of, our desire to get these review posts out, 3 days after you get the device. And then you have these kinds of things, right, where you really do use it. And it, if you wrote about it now versus, the pressure to write about it on the day of release, and your HD is popping in and out. So it's possible it's coming back for me. But I just think it's different. It's one of those kinds of things where you really have something to say about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, well, I opened it up and I opened Word and it's fast.
Exactly. Which I've been podcasting about it as a portable device for like the last month. Someone in the chat room has said, "Hey Dave, get a Dell Venue 11 Pro." Well, I got one of those right here.
Yeah.
But the processor's even slower on this thing. And I'm sure Chrome would just absolutely kill it. And Drashin is also saying power management on his processor. Here's the thing, guys. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When you get it up to a certain temperature, it's gonna knock the processor down no matter what. No matter what. So here's my Dell Venue 11 Pro. Now, I got this out, guys. I did. I got this thing out, and I tried to kill it with Chrome too, and it obviously it's different. It has a different thermal profile in this, but that may be my new desktop. I don't know. It's crazy, I tell you. So far we're looking pretty good. I think we can get a podcast off.
Good. We
can actually get through this thing. I just wanted you guys to know, some of the little things that we're going through.
Yeah, so, behind the scenes stuff. It's stuff we talk about at the meetup. So it's it's people may not say, well, it's not really home server related or even server related, but that's the kind of community we have. So it's, if you're new to this and you're expecting server stuff, we kind of cover the gamut a little bit here as well. So
we do. We get into it, and I also want to show you one more thing. There is something that I've gotten my hands on lately. Oh, I need to look over here at this screen. And this is not going to be an HD, Jim, so I wanted to show you. This is, oops, I need to go this way in the camera. This is the OnePlus One Cyanogen Mod Android phone. So I've managed to get myself a Cyanogen Mod phone. It's called the OnePlus One, and I'm looking for a place to put like a little review. So I'm kind of crazy right now, guys. I've got that. I've got this phone here, which is the LG G2, and there's my reminder. I've got this as well. I've got my Nokia Lumia 930. It's the icon on Verizon. So I've got 3 phones here, and I'm trying to figure out which phone is going to be mine. And tomorrow I'm going to look at another one, Jim. Don't tell my wife. So
Oh man.
I'm going to go look at another one. Expect a couple of these phones to be on sale in the coming days. So if you're looking for maybe the OnePlus One, this might go on eBay because it's going at quite the
Premium?
quite the premium.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a
So-
good time to unload it.
Okay, Jim. We're going all cloud, but I got a little bit of news. Synology's in the news, and Synology has released. This is kind of different. It's a DS415 Play. Now they had previously released a DS. It must have been like a 215 Play. I don't really remember the nomenclature on there, but it was a 2-bay, and it's like Synology going after like the media guy, the guy that wants to do everything media related in the home. And now this is a nice 4-bay for it's specifically targeted for media. So it looks pretty cool. It's the DS415 Play. That was just announced today. So I will get a link out in the show notes so you can take a look at that.
Looks like they're playing on these 6 terabyte drives too. So, 24 terabytes of information of data available for you there.
Yeah, I haven't seen any pricing. They just released this out there today, so I haven't seen any pricing. And if it looks like I have Rudolph syndrome,
No, you look good in that camera.
I was outside all day at a Boy Scout camp, so I got heat stroke, sunstroke, sunburn, you name it, I got it. Okay.
Hey, real quick, Synology, I just saw this. They've added support for streaming to Chromecast on their boxes.
That's in my news somewhere, deep somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. There it is. It's like right there in front of me. Media streaming straight from the NAS to Chromecast. Now, Jim, you're going to do that with your apps.
Right.
So you can even do that with your Windows Phone. So you Windows Phone guys, you're not left out. Actually, Synology and Windows Phone has a great set of apps if you own that that platform. The tweets are really flying around here.
They really are.
Hi guys, how did Ed Bott get in on this?
Is he out there?
Yeah, he just. I don't know. He said hi to Vinyl Freak, John Stutzman, Jim Collison. I don't know.
Nice.
So everybody's getting on the tweet wall behind me. I guess that's the goal. But that's fun. That's why I do it. So we have some fun. If it's not in HD, I apologize. Again, me and the Surface Pro 3, we're kind of butting heads on this whole CPU thermal sealing issue. And I've yet to test today's firmware release for the Wi-Fi issue. So if that Wi-Fi thing isn't fixed, then this may be my last Surface Geek moment. I may be like hung up by the rafters.
Hey, you just got your MVP, so don't.
That's good.
Don't
I'm good
blow
for
it.
a year.
Don't blow it. Next year you'll be a Windows expert like me.
Yeah, I may just have to hang it up if especially if I keep buying Android phones. Okay, so here's something in the news that you guys are going to think is cool. I hope you think is cool. Now, okay, I have never had one single product that can arouse all of my different senses. And when I say senses, I mean, okay, I'm a home server guy, right? Okay, I'm a mobile guy. I love mobile. I love touch. I love tablets. I'm a networking guy, right? I love that networking stuff. Just love it to death. And home automation. You guys know we just launched homeautomationforums.com, right? And that forum is ramping up and starting to do really well. Well, how could you put all of that together in one product and really like almost geek overload but I found that product. Now, I owe this to one of our listeners, Tony Rayner. He's in the forums. He's out there a lot. He's been on the podcast. He comes to the meetups. And so I'm going to blame him for this. So I am $150 lighter. When he tweeted this, I saw it, and it was just like, duh. I ordered it. Okay, so here's what it is. It's called Soap. It's an Indiegogo. I don't want to say Kickstarter because I don't think they let you say Kickstarter if you're on Indiegogo.com. But it's a crowdfund campaign like Kickstarter. Shh. And so Soap, it's called the Intelligent Touchscreen Quad Band Router and Home Automation Center. Jip, get this. Maybe I have this link. I'll put this in chat. You guys, you have to see this. Literally, you have to see this. I wish that there's some kind of referral that I could get, like some, I don't know, some referral bucks or something. Maybe I'll find that and put it in the show notes. Take a look at.
Good Lord.
I know everybody's getting
Wow.
on the tweet wall too.
Yeah.
So look at this thing. It is an Android router with Wi-Fi and a touchscreen. And you literally, you need to read through all of the descriptions of this thing. And it almost seems like, when you look at it, it seems like this is not real. It almost seems like, okay, this is one of those like make-believe projects that someone's going to run off with our money. But look at what they did. They've raised $176,000, and their goal was literally $42,000. Now, the reason I got in on it so quick is I got in it pre-goal. So I wanted to help. I wanted to make sure that they reached their goal. I thought, this is a great product. Now, one weird thing is after I put my money down, I get emails like every day. Hey, we have an update. Hey, we have add-ons. So they're literally adding stuff into software like, I don't know, some media streaming pack. And they're putting it on Indiegogo. Here's a pack for $24. You know, get it now before you can get it in like 2015. So they're really adding I almost feel like they're nickel diming me. You know, I just wanted my little router and play with it, you know, but they're going crazy with it, Jim. You can add in a second Wi-Fi router, so you can have 2 Wi-Fi access points or something on this thing, 2 different networks, an Ethernet network, and it's got all these different radios in it, Jim. Bluetooth, Z-Wave, Insteon, Zigbee. So they've got the little tags. You know, you can put a little tag on your keychain. So, you know, when your wife walks in the door, it says, oh, you know, there's Mrs. Collison. Turn on Third Rock from the Sun, or, you know, whatever she's watching at the moment. You know, just do some type of home automation based on that tag. It does it all. It does it all. I was blown away by this project. And I honestly cannot wait to get it. I hope it's real. I literally hope it's real. But
yeah. No, it looks good. Looks sharp. I mean, it does look kind of fake. You know, you look at it, you're like, what? But man, I mean, if it is real, and I think, why wouldn't it be? I think it will be. Very cool. I mean, it is the geek of geek devices.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It almost seems unreal, but literally, they've got the design, right? They send pictures out in email. Here's our new circuit board. You know, here's the design when they breadboarded this thing. So it's really kind of interesting to see these guys, you know, take it from paper to product. But I literally do not know how they're going to do this, and I don't know how they're putting a touch screen device into this with, you know, for the price that I paid at $150. I don't see how they're doing it. I literally don't see how they're doing it. And when Tony Rayner in our forums tweeted this out, I'm like, a touchscreen on a router? I scoffed at him. I'm like, dude, my router is in my basement. I never see it. You know, I never see it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. I'm going to have to create like some different routed network so I can have this out, you know.
Yeah, it is a weird combination because you would expect the touchscreen to be in a display place on the wall or whatever to kind of control all that, and then you hide them because it's got all the ports, man. It's got every port known to man on that thing. And so, yeah, you plug it. It would be an odd combo. You'd almost like have to bring all that stuff up to your desk and have it sitting on your desk, or I don't know. It's an odd combo.
I think it'd be cool that way. I may
Yeah.
use it. I may literally use it as an access point and home automation. This may be my Insteon hub. I'd rather have an Insteon hub quicker than this, but I may end up doing that. But Jim, I'm monitoring the surface
Yeah,
temperatures.
we were like at 106 before.
Okay, so my screen, guys, this is my screen.
This is in Fahrenheit, right?
This
Whoa.
is in Fahrenheit of the screen of
Yowzo.
my Surface Pro 3. The processor is at 66 degrees Celsius, so that's 150 degrees. My screen is 109 degrees. That's on the right side where the CPU is. Now let me shoot the left side, which is 90.5 degrees.
That's hot.
This is a Surface. This Surface Pro 3 is a tablet. It's almost like an e-reader. It's not a desktop device. I'm just going to shoot it again. So this is my little, I don't know.
Well,
Remember the last time I did this and I
yeah.
zapped my camera? So again, I shot it again.
Yeah.
That is the right side, CPU side of my screen. It's 107 degrees on the surface, guys. On the surface. That's hot.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be fair. Podcasting is a fairly intensive operation that we're doing, right? You're running a bunch of camera, a bunch of bandwidth, a bunch of CPU cycles. To be able to get that done, we know that the Hangout takes a little bit. We know the camera takes a little bit. All those pieces. So, but if that's what happens to it when it's at full utilization, right? I mean,
And it's knocked down. I'm at 1.7 gigahertz.
yeah.
My multiplier is dropped down.
I was telling you in the pre-show, I've been considering the Pro 3. I've been waiting to see what kind of deals we get at Summit, and so I've been saving some dollars just for something to come up. But boy, now you got me thinking. First, some Wi-Fi issues kind of out the door. Some even some firmware that had to be released on the day it was released. Some Wi-Fi issues that they're having now. Some heating, because I'm like you. This is what I would use it for. I would try and I'd throw a bunch at it.
I've already ordered the dock, Jim. I ordered the dock. This is my desktop replacement. Now, to be honest with you, the reason I really bring this up a lot is because people like me own the Surface Pro 2, and they're getting rid of it, and they plop down Surface Pro 3, and they want it to act the same, if not better. It's an upgrade, right? It's a bigger
yes.
screen.
In theory,
It's thinner. It's supposed to be quote unquote better. So folks expect to replace their old stuff and for it to be better. I need to have a better experience with this than they had previous. And I'm not finding that. And it took my review failure of I reviewed this as a tablet, which is not a failure in the sense of the review, but I didn't review it for myself as a desktop replacement. And mostly it was just because, it was partly lazy, but it was partly because I have my set, when your desktop is your desktop, right? And when you're podcasting, there's certain things, there's bells and whistles you have set, there's switches you have set, there's routines that you have done. And when that gets goofed up, you throw your whole podcast out the window. It's going to delay you.
Right.
It's going to create a bad experience. And, of course, we're living that. Last week's podcast, I thought the audio was crap. But that's why I didn't just rip out the Pro 2 and drop this in here and start podcasting with it. I tried to do everything humanly possible with it to review it, and I did, but I didn't do a desktop replacement. So I'm back on my high horse. I'll get off of it. Where are we? So, hey, I'm going to put a link out to that soap on a
Yeah,
rope internet
it's worth
router
looking at.
thing. And I think maybe you buy some soap. Maybe I get a little, like, maybe some hand soap. I don't know. Maybe some disinfectant wash if you buy some soap off of my link. I think that actually happens. So we're going to get into, this is the long-awaited cloud episode. Jim and I do this 6 to 8 months. Every 6 months or so, we go through our cloud stuff. Jim over at theaverageguy.tv, he's got his cloud document, and he's got a big list of all these different cloud services that he uses. And me, I'm like closed-minded. I have my clouds that I use, and that's it. They're the best. But I'm going to share something with you that I found recently that I've really been enjoying. I've mentioned it on the show, but I've not like really taken a look at it. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that a little bit. So Jim, how do you want to start us?
Yeah. Well, let me back up a little bit. I've been tracking these cloud offerings for about 18 months now in a single post, and we just continue to update that post. And I actually, when I changed it this time, I changed some information in it so it would break the links to the old one. I didn't want people to necessarily going back to it, but updated a lot of it. This last go around, I hadn't touched it in a year, so it sat out there from June of 2013 to June of 2014 without really any updates to it. And a lot had changed in the cloud space since then. I think first we can talk about a few deaths. So we'll start with death before we start with the life.
Okay.
On that. So a few deaths. So a few of you, and we've kind of crowdsourced this document in a lot of ways. And so I got information from you. I still haven't covered them all. There's a lot out there. But two of them that I did cover, Mega Cloud is gone. They went away, I don't know, 3 to 6 months ago. If you'd used Mega Cloud, they had some offerings out there. They are now gone and their doors are closed. And then a surprise, and maybe not such a surprise, but Ubuntu One, which was Ubuntu's opportunity to jump in and try and get cloud storage. They'd offered 5 free gig of storage out the door. Plus, they cut some pricing plans to get you, to 50 and 100 gig. And they realized they did not want to play in this space. And so if you're on Ubuntu One, which I've been getting notifications all spring that they're closing their doors. And if you want to get your data, you better get it now. So if you didn't know that yet and you got data out on Ubuntu One, you might want to head out there and go grab your data. I think they're deleting it. Actually, I think the last day was July 14th. I could be wrong about that, but it's pretty close to the recording of this episode. And so they are gone. Those two have gone away. There's also been some increases, some significant increases, and I think we would expect that from these providers. Surprisingly, though, the company that started it all, which is Dropbox, right? I think we look to them as being the first race for lots of free storage. When, 3 or 4 years ago they offered 2 gig for free. They haven't changed their pricing plan now since I think the day they started. Still 2 gig, still super expensive when you get. I mean, they are the most expensive at the 100 gig, 200 gig, and 500 gig level. You can get referrals up to 18 gig on that, but the Dropbox has not kept up in the race. Everybody else, and we'll talk about that here in a few minutes, but everybody else has upped their game, including, how big of files you can put on there, how much total you get for free, what the pricing is, what the pricing structure is. Dropbox, not so much. It's been interesting. They have just stayed in exactly the same spot. So it's that I found that very, very interesting that they have not moved. They haven't offered anything different. They've kept to the same plans. And so while everyone else around them has moved, they have not. We've broken this document down really into 3 categories now. Those are the traditional cloud, which is what we're talking about, where you upload or sync your data to somebody else's servers in the cloud. That's kind of the traditional cloud services is the way we think of it. I don't want to say it's new, but it's new for me to define it this way, but there's the private cloud concept, which a year ago we talked about private clouds, maybe like an own cloud, but I don't know if anybody was really doing it mainstream. And now we have at least 3 different mainstream offerings for this idea of a private cloud. That means, and this is perfect for our audience because we got all our data on servers. Why do we want to move all those things up to the cloud necessarily when we spent a bunch of money to build out our servers at home and keep them there? Now, there's various reasons why you would do that, and maybe we can talk about the ins and outs of the private cloud, but here in a little bit I'll talk about a couple different offerings on the private cloud. And then, of course, there's the traditional backup, right? So there's and we'll roll through these here real quick. Let me start with these real quick, and we talk about the various companies that are out there. So the Acronis, Backblaze, Carbonite, CrashPlan, PogoPlug. Those are the 5 backups that I've covered in my document. I'm sure there are more. In fact, I put a post in the Home Server Show forums about this. If you wanted to give me some feedback on things we're missing, I will always update the document. But those are the kind of the 5 major backup options that we have available to us. Most of us, I think, are using if we petitioned our community, a lot of us are using CrashPlan. At this point, that seems to be by far the most popular plan out there at $60 for most people on one PC, and they have a variety of plans. I think $100 gets you a couple different PCs as well. They're 120, I think, is what it is for CrashPlan. And so they are by far the most popular. But the pricing, Carbonite is the same at $60. Backblaze is at $50. Acronis has got an offering. Acronis is a little bit different, and they'll back you up to your own servers if you want. And by the way, I have found Acronis very, very nice home server replacement. So if you got a couple PCs in the house, or maybe just 1 or 2, and you got a server or whatever, and you want to back those up, the Acronis backup software is slick, efficient, fast, easy to configure, and it'll back up to absolutely anything that you have in the house. If it can find it on the network, it will back up to it.
So you can still do the traditional bare metal restore with Acronis.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you can. You can back up everything. So
get cool. A Synology, and then you can do a bare metal restore. And then Synology's got a little backup program you could run.
Yeah, no, right on. And you get 5 gig free. It's not enough in the cloud to do your for most people. It's probably not enough to do your full backups in the cloud. And I'm not sure with Acronis that you would want to, but that Acronis, and then you get a whole bunch of other tools with it as well. That's kind of cool with the Acronis software. It's not just backup, but you get a whole bag of tools. If you're a tech guy, you've probably used a lot of their tools that are available. Secure Wipe and some of those other repartitioning. You can take your large partition and jam it down to a smaller one and put it on a smaller hard drive, which isn't easy to do with some traditional backup software that you do. So Acronis is still out there, hanging around. The 2014 version is out there. I think I upgraded to it for $25. And I basically, it's $25 a year. Let's just say that if you're going to stay on the Acronis plans. And then PogoPlug, which it's just a hilarious name, but we've talked about before. They created some devices and some cloud stuff. They've actually jumped in unlimited $50. So they have jumped into this. You don't have to have a device. You can sign up for their services. You can back your stuff up. They have a client that you install on your PC. $50 unlimited to PogoPlug. So that's still not the cheapest, by the way.
Where are they sending it, Jim? Are they running their own data centers?
Yeah, they're running their own data
Amazon?
Centers. Yeah.
Wow.
No, I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know if they're buying Amazon space and subletting it, so to speak. It's not the fastest in the world, which kind of make you believe you're getting in some cold storage somewhere. Sometimes to get that done.
So it's probably Could be.
Yeah, but it's one of those offerings. That was another surprise to me. They had been a little more expensive and a little more limiting, and I think the trend that we're seeing in this, with like Microsoft and others moving to the 1 terabyte, theoretically, if you're at 1 terabyte, you're probably unlimited. I mean, let's just say most of our data is in video, right? That's for us guys and gals that are listening here. If you've got a lot of storage, it's probably because of your videos. You're not going to move those to the cloud anyways. I mean, for most people, that's unreasonable. So if you take out video, music is the next category of that, and you got to have a ton of music to even get, a significant amount. You'll barely get close to 100 gig, much less a terabyte with your music. And then documents are so small now, and we have so much in the cloud. A terabyte is theoretically, that's my opinion, theoretically unlimited at this point. And that's where folks are starting to land now on cloud, is this 1 terabyte limit. So if we flip back over to the cloud storage pieces, there's talk of, and we'll talk about Microsoft first, of course, with OneDrive now, with Office 365 and a variety of options. You can now get up to a terabyte of storage for the subscription price, right? And so for a lot of people and for what they're storing, I think we've kind of reached, at least for now, we've kind of reached the end of the internet as far as what matters. I don't think they can throw 10 terabytes. Well, 100 terabytes, whatever. Even I think it's unlimited at this point. Microsoft, and it seems like, Dave, this is where the market's hot right now, and everything is changing rapidly. So I think if you go on the Microsoft website, they're still offering 7 gig for free, but I think they're going to up that to 15 here with some subscription or something here pretty quick. And so Microsoft is making that move up to 15. Amazon's at 5, Box is at 10, Copy is at 15. They've moved up. These are all free offerings when we talk about cloud storage. Cubby, which is I think a Logmein, that company, they have not gotten any traction. They're still at 5 gig. Whereas an interesting offering, though, with MediaFire. So if you haven't checked these guys out, this might be a look, MediaFire.com. They were one, they had all these, they'd kind of come in on the music side of this, or they want to stream your music to you. They've kind of thrown off all that, and now it's just cloud storage. They offer 10 gig for free, but their unlimited plan, or their 1 terabyte plan, let's just say that. Their 1 terabyte plan is $24. It's by far the cheapest out there. I shouldn't say by far. Everyone's catching up to it pretty quick. But right now, among all the services for that size, I mean, $24 on a Google Drive will get you 100 gig as a comparison. And it will get you 50 gig at Amazon. So just to kind of give you some ideas of what you're paying and how you're paying for it. With Dropbox, I mentioned earlier, with Dropbox being the most expensive, all those in the offerings here. And so, Dave, you started off by saying, you've got your things, right? You've got the things you're clinging onto. And I think here's one of the deals we have to think about. We've all been working on these cloud storage options and have gotten into an ecosystem. And it's as hard sometimes to leave those ecosystems. I pulled some video down the other day, and I realized I had, 10 gig of video or something up on a site or something along those lines. And it still takes, you got to move that stuff around, right? You got to pull that stuff down. And if you have a bandwidth cap, you might even say you got 100 gig up there of videos and stuff. You got to pull that down. That might be a third of your cap for the month. Moving some of that stuff around. So once you're in the system, talk a little bit about, so you'd mentioned these, the ones that you're using, but talk a little bit about where you've landed.
Okay, well, it's interesting that you bring up your bandwidth cap and moving things around, because, so let me just land right into that problem right there, because that can be a problem when you transition from one cloud service to another. So, me personally, I stopped using Dropbox a long time ago, and I'm using mainly OneDrive. I use CrashPlan. CrashPlan's a set it and forget it. I don't touch it. But, my OneDrive, my Copy.com, I'm in it. I'm manipulating. So even if I screw that up, I've always got it out there on CrashPlan. I also use a service that we've put on the website before. It's called LiveDrive, drivepop.com. These guys use a service called LiveDrive, and one of the reasons I do mention them is because they have a Windows Phone app, and I find that if these guys take the time to make a Windows Phone app, then I tend to kind of like their service, kind of like Copy.com. Copy.com's got a nice little Windows Phone app. I like them. Okay, so let's get back to the issue. I've got something in, let's say, Google Drive or Picasa, Amazon S3, and I want to get it over to OneDrive. Well, there's a service called Otixo, and it's otixo.com. Now, this company used to be a pay-per-use service, and I think they were like having some trouble. They were getting a little traction. But this is a cloud-to-cloud service company. So you get a free account with Otixo, and you can log in to a lot of your credentials. I need to look up all that I can do. So let me find. So cloud services that you can load up: Dropbox, BitCasa, Box. You can load up an FTP site, a WebDAV site, Google Drive, OneDrive, Facebook, Cubby, Median Center, Picasa, SugarSync, S3. Oh, there's tons of them. Tons of this stuff that I don't even recognize. It's like European stuff, services. But I read you the major ones. Now, when we were going to go podcast this a couple of weeks ago, I had a bullet point, Jim, that said, this would be perfect if they included copy.com. I think it would be perfect if they included copy.com. And what do they do like 3 days ago? They drop in copy.com. So it's the coolest thing. And this is a service where I think the actual web app is pretty darn cool. So you go to otixo.com, you get a free account. You can load in, I don't know how many cloud services you can load in, but I loaded in S3, Copy, Google Drive, OneDrive, and Picasa. And I've got all of those. And you can do, for free, you can do, I think it's a little limited, you can do a one file copy cloud to cloud at a time. Now, if you jump up and pay a couple of dollars per month, you can do, unlimited type cloud to cloud copies. But Jim, say you wanted to get everything out of you're just done with copy.com and you don't want to re-upload. You want to send that all over to your OneDrive. You get a month of service for a couple of dollars. And they'll do a cloud-to-cloud copy. It never comes down your internet pipe at all. Never comes to your PC. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's a great service. They're not alone in that. We've highlighted Mover.io, same deal, kind of company that does that. For a while, was offering they had you mentioned Copy, and they had a relationship with Copy. You could move everything off Copy for free. So they had a 10 gig. They gave you 10 gig for free. They've changed their pricing model now a little bit. That's $15 a month to do that. You can move one thing up to 2 gig for free, so you can check out the pricing. We interviewed those guys on Home Gadget Geeks, and so if you want to pop back, just head over to theaverageguy.tv and search for Mover.io. But yeah, I love this now, and we know the ecosystem's working when there's services that support cloud-to-cloud movement, right, in that. And because, for an example, BitCasa is one of those you just mentioned. They just partnered with them as well, and I think those are free. Oh no, Ubuntu One. I'm going back to that. If you were on Ubuntu One, they were offering free offload of your stuff on Ubuntu One. So if you had an account over there, this was great. I mean, it's a great opportunity for you to try it. If you needed to move your files, you could connect to it and move as much data as you had on Ubuntu One off onto another cloud service, and they didn't charge you for that.
What I want to look into is I have yet to do this, but they have FTP, and I don't remember if this is a pay service or not. I think the WebDAV you have to pay, but I do a lot of backups on my servers. So all my web servers, all those databases, the WordPress DBs, the forum DBs, all that has to get backed up, and it creates a mess in my file system on my server. So I have my Essential server looks every night. It goes out and looks to see if there's backups, and it pulls them down. If it does a successful download, it deletes. I have it delete because I go on a week's vacation, and I get this text from mostly Icon out in the forums. He says, "Dude, server's down." And I'll log in. It's like, dang, the drives are full again. So, it's my backup service that's gone haywire, and I can't download all those files. So I might look at this to see. I don't know if I can automate it, but if I could automate an FTP cloud to cloud and not even have to pull it down to
Right.
my server, I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I was doing that on Mover for a while. I would back up my the averageguy.tv on the server where it was at, and then I would move it over to Copy, and put it in there because at the time they had it was a free transfer between that and Copy. So yeah, it's a great idea. It's a great way to move your data if you're worried about bandwidth. Both those offerings, I think, have a great, and they, Mover works with everybody you expect. The big names we all talked about, they have a connector to them, including an FTP connector.
Yeah.
So pretty cool services. Worth, if you're moving a lot of data around, when we talk about cloud storage, I think you really got to consider it in the discussion. You can't just, you got to think, how do I move this data from place to place?
Another thing is, and I didn't used to consider this, and I really put a lot of weight behind it right now, and that is mobile. Otixo has a mobile app, again, for Windows Phone, and it looks nice, and it works. They have a modern UI app for Windows 8. It works. It looks nice. I like that. I like that companies have invested in some of the platforms that I support, and Copy.com as well. They have apps that you can look. I don't know how you're going to use this. I use some for photo backups. I use some for documents. OneDrive, that's where my documents are. And that's important to me that I can get to those while I'm mobile. And if someone asks you for a picture and you have that photo in your 2010, photo folder, it's kind of nice when you can go to copy.com on your app and just pull it down right to your phone. So, well, here it is. So,
yeah.
Mobile's
for
important
sure.
to me.
Yeah, no, right on. And I think this is where everybody's application is just a little bit different. It's like I think we can talk about it, but everyone has, and man, just even the guys that are in chat have different applications for stuff than the way we use it. And so, it's just, there's so many options. Dave, I'd mentioned earlier private clouds. Let me cover that real fast too, because there's been some companies. So some people say, I don't want the NSA looking at my stuff. I don't want stuff in the cloud. I don't trust it, blah, blah, blah. I want my own stuff. Well, I'll be honest. I don't like the web app, the web connect with Windows Home Server. 2011 never really worked well for me. 2012 it still isn't great. Hard to set up. Sometimes you have to punch holes through your firewall, your router. I never mess with those. I don't like to turn them on. I don't like to mess with them. And so there are a couple companies that are helping you traverse that and figure out a way. Install the software on all your devices so it can go on the server, go on your PC, go on your mobile devices. You run these apps. And it doesn't sync your data. In other words, you're not moving your data all over the place, which is the key, right? The data stays exactly where it is. When you need it, you move it, right? So if you need that picture and it's sitting on a server at home, you can access it on your phone and it will quickly move it. Once you need it, bam, it moves it to your phone, right? Now, if you need it on your phone for real-time stuff, you should probably consider the sync options at that point. But onesies, twosies, where you don't want to store all that music on your phone directly, but you want to get access to it or whatever the file is, right? There's a couple I'll talk about here. One is called Tappin, Tappin, tappin.com. They are a company like On Air Player. We also talked about them on Home Gadget Geeks a couple months back, where the data never moves, right? They're in the cloud, they just keep a catalog of where all your files are. And so when you log in with your phone or log in with your laptop or log in with your tablet, it automatically says, hey, I need this file. This is where it is. And boom, it takes care of all of getting it there, right? If you're moving it off your server. And this is where I think this is really good for us home server guys, because we want to keep everything at home. We want it backed up at home. We may not want to move it to the cloud for whatever reason. And so you're not technically moving it to the cloud. It's all staying there. You're just connecting to your home server or whatever devices. Maybe it's on a laptop that your spouse has and that laptop is somewhere else. As soon as it's connected, you get access to it. So tappin.com, that's one of them that's doing that. And then, of course, The guys that have been doing it for a long time, OwnCloud. So we know them, owncloud.org. They're another, you install the software. I haven't checked their mobile options recently. And so I don't know exactly how friendly that is with mobile devices if they have a mobile app. So I'd have to look into that. So that's one Christian used last year when he moved on campus in Maryland. He kind of left his PC at home and put OwnCloud on it, and then that's how he would access his data from school. But two that you probably haven't heard of, Seafile, S-E-A-F-I-L-E, Seafile, Seafile.com. Again, install software on all the various devices and you can get to it. And then the other one's a brand new one. This is a Kickstarter project, Dave, and it's called Shirley. And you should say the line from Airport. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. And stop calling me Shirley.
Shirley, SHER.LY. And they're playing in that space to move. And of course, the security of these options is important. And so they're all playing on encryption, and it's encrypted point to point, and when you're pulling it from your server and moving it to your phone or whatever you're doing. And so there are more and more options for this idea of keeping your data local, but being able to access it from any device anywhere, safely and securely and encrypted from your mobile devices.
Interesting. I like all those little different services
Yeah, no, it's a good space.
these guys can come up with.
Yeah. Well, in some of the, a couple of the things we haven't talked about, of course, iCloud from Apple. I have not covered them at all. SimForm, remember SimForm? I looked into them the other day. Remember them? You give them some space. They're still doing that. Give them 2 terabytes of cloud storage, they'll give you a terabyte back, right? So they're touting that as unlimited storage space, in a sense, because you can build out your own home servers to as big as you want them, and then they do a 2-for-1 ratio. So SimForm, it was funny. I'd kind of forgotten about them. We hadn't talked about them in a long time, and I was like, oh, hey, they're still in business doing it. OpenDrive, of course, ASUS has their own web storage. If you buy an ASUS product, you get some web storage with that. DriveHQ, One.com, Mozy. We haven't, and that falls under the backup category, right? We haven't talked about Mozy in a long time.
Carbonite, Backblaze kind of backup stuff.
That Mozy fits in that backup. I haven't put it in my list of things yet because I just haven't got to it. But so cloud backup, whether we talk about file sync or storage in the cloud, private cloud or backup, it's alive and well. I mean, and the prices, if you haven't looked, this is like your auto insurance. If you haven't looked at how much you're paying, you should probably do a review at this point to see, because the services and Microsoft, Amazon, Google are all in a race to the bottom. They are hacking. When we think of Azure, they are hacking and slashing prices at every other month I get a, hey, new pricing, because I use Azure a lot. New pricing on Azure. And so they're going after each other, and it's not a bad time to jump into that space if you're thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You asked some things that I use, and I'm still pretty much the same. Again, I said CrashPlan. That's on my Windows Home server. I migrated from 2011 to 2012. Everything went cool. Boom, migrated it over. That's something I don't touch. It's just there. I don't touch it. I pay for it when it's needed, and anytime I upload new photos, bam, it goes to my CrashPlan. I don't use S3 anymore. I used to use S3 a lot way back in the day when nobody was doing this, but I would do backups and I would store them out on S3 just in case something ever happened here to my to the web server or whatnot. Dropbox. I used to use Dropbox quite a bit, and I don't even have it loaded on any PC that I own right now.
Yeah, but Dropbox is great for everybody else. This is where, when I do consulting work with other people, everybody else knows Dropbox, right? They know, the average guy uses and knows Dropbox. So when you're dealing with, the public, that's what I go with. It's the easiest because they get it, they understand it, they know how. And that's the worst thing to have to explain. Okay, I want you to go to OneDrive. Well, what's that? Never used that before.
Yeah.
And while it's easy to use, you got to explain the interface to them and all those things. So I only stay with Dropbox, and I have a bunch. I think I have 50 gig of storage with them based on all the referral stuff that we've done. But I only use it because it's what the public uses.
I still explain OneDrive.
No, it's probably a good idea. It's probably a good idea. And you know what? I keep a lot of my personal stuff in my OneDrive, and I'm not saying that I would be worried about people if I was sharing that, but it's super easy for me to segregate. Like Dropbox is the dirty, grimy, I know it's public. If I'm putting something out there, I'm not worried about it. It might be just some files we're sharing or whatever. In my mind, I'm just like, that's the public space. And my OneDrive is the nice, clean, pristine. That's where my data's at. That's where my pictures are stored. That's where, that's my space, and I don't have to remember the permissions or how do you grant access to it or who does and who doesn't, kind of deal. So that's how I divide it.
Understood. I like my OneDrive, and I go to great lengths to describe it to other folks and get them to use it, and it works.
It's great.
There was a lady who was taking pictures at one of our baseball games that I was coaching, and I just went up there. I said, you're taking pictures of the whole team. Have you considered uploading those photos and emailing it to the team email list? We have a team email list. She goes, oh, yeah, maybe I'll do that. And I was like, you should try OneDrive.com, and you can easily do that. And, 2-3 weeks later, bam, I get a OneDrive link. There's all the photos of the boys playing baseball. So it works if you advocate out there for the products you love.
Yeah,
and if that happens to be Dropbox, then so be it.
Well, I've shut off the Dropbox upload automatically. Some of those, if you install those on your phone, they'll automatically take your pictures.
Absolutely.
And so now mine go to Google, and that's good because I love the Google enhancements that come with where you get Auto Awesome and
take a picture of a tree in the winter and you get snowfall. Yeah, I love that, Jim.
Well, no, there's some good stuff there. Auto Awesome's pretty cool,
I know.
Right? The videos but I also copy it to my OneDrive, so I have a photo roll on my OneDrive, and that's the record. All my photos I've moved over to OneDrive, and that's the place of record. If it's a photo and it's a Collison photo, and I want to keep it, it's in OneDrive. That has become the place where I'm going to keep it. Now, the beauty of that is that syncs. So on 2011, I have the OneDrive app installed, which works great on 2011, and it syncs back locally. So it's weird. I don't go camera server cloud. I go camera cloud server, right?
Right.
I take a picture, it goes up to the cloud, and then it syncs back to so if I want to get it locally, I don't go back to my phone to download it. I go to the server to get it, right, and pull it in after the fact. So, a little different way of doing it, but that's how I do. I do upload it twice. I put it once. Now, Google is when it goes to Google, that's all transactional. If I lose it on Google, not a big deal. If if it goes away, they decide to kill the service, whatever, because they seem to be killing quite a few these days.
Right.
I don't care.
I'm the same way. way.
Yeah. It's like, okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm good. But the place of record is OneDrive. And
mine goes further. I go, I take the picture, it uploads to OneDrive. OneDrive downloads to the server, and then that night, CrashPlan backs it up. So it goes camera, cloud, PC, back to cloud.
Yeah,
different
so
cloud.
You have it in 3 places, right? You've got it, 4 really. It's on your phone.
Yeah, because then 5. Then I do a nightly backup to a different NAS box from the Windows Home server, or actually it's Server Essentials. But it's creepy copies. Yeah, I have an issue. I have issues.
No, it's all good. Photos are important, man. It's
are.
just I had this week. I had a guy I work with say to me, "Hey, can you get files back after a technician has formatted the hard drive?" And I'm like, well, what happened? And he was like, well, it crashed, and they didn't ask me. They just reformatted the drive and put Windows back on. And I had thousands of pictures on there. I was like, well, let's give it a try. Give it to me. I brought it home and pulled the drive out, put it in a docking station, ran Rakuva on it, and let that thing run for 14 hours on a deep scan. And I probably got half the pictures back. Of course, they overwrote a bunch of them when they put Windows back on there. Yeah. but
Thanks, guys.
got half. Hey, half's better than none.
That's
so
right.
I put it back on. I spent a couple days. Those processes take a long time, and spent a couple days doing it. Put it back on his drive. Put the drive back in the box. Gave it back to him. I said, okay, I want you to go through, get all your files situated, and then in 2 weeks, I'm going to give you. I've got a Crash Plan coupon that I'm going to give them, and you're gonna spend money on Crash Plan, and you're gonna move your stuff to the cloud. And he's
Right.
like, oh, okay. So,
Yeah. Hey, more cloud. I use copy.com. We started this long ago, and I sent out my copy.com
yeah, the
referral.
affiliate link or referral.
Yeah,
link.
referral link. Yeah, it's not affiliate because I don't make anything, but
Correct.
I do get 5 gig free every time someone signs up. So it's up to 272 gig, and I use it. Now, here's the cool thing, Jim. I turned off my 2011 server. Actually, the hard drives are still right there. That's the RAID array, and that's the IC dock right there. I don't know why I'm not reusing these, because I've moved on. I'm going to recycle these drives. Those are going to go into an HP microserver. But I turned it off, and I didn't reload copy.com. Technically I did, and I tried to reset up some stuff, and it was doing weird things. I just took it off because it was too messy for me then.
Yeah, that's a drawback to the cloud.
And then I come back, a month, 2 months later, and I fire up copy.com, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't even logged into this service for 60 days. I'm kind of expecting my drive to be cleared. These guys are going to get pissed. They want their space back, and everything's still there.
Oh,
So,
yeah, no.
I have not read their terms of services. I'm sure if you're gone for like 12 months, they're going to clear your account.
Yeah,
They'll
it might
probably
be 12
email
or
you.
18. Yeah, they would
Yeah.
definitely email you a bunch
Yeah.
before they do that. Copy's got an interesting policy in what they call fair storage. So let's say you and I are sharing a document. We're sharing a folder. Let's say we get Ed Bott involved in it as well, right? Because we were talking about Ed earlier. And we get Tony Rayner. We were talking about him. So the four of us are sharing this 4 gig file, so to speak, that we're using. Well, Copy says, hey, if you're all sharing it, it shouldn't all count against your plans. It shouldn't count for 4 for you and 4 for me and 4 for Ed and 4 for Tony. So they split it up 4 ways on your plan and say, okay, Dave, you get 1, I get 1, because we're sharing it. I get 1, you get 1, Ed gets 1, Tony gets 1. And so I'm only charged for, that's not the right word, but I'm only, only a gig goes against my storage quotas as opposed to all 4 gig, because they could, and a lot of the other services do, if you share those files, that's 16 gig. Well, there's not a 16 gig file there, right? To be honest, there's only one instance of it.
Yeah.
So instead of charging it against your quota, they don't. They call fair storage. So I think with Copy, that is pretty cool. I mean, that's one of those things that Copy's doing. The other cool thing that we don't talk about from a team standpoint is Copy also has a plan, free plan, by the way. Basically, 5 users can be part of a team and team storage. They will give you a terabyte of storage in that, and for free. And if you need more, just ask. They'll give it to you. Right? It says company paid plans include an initial storage capacity of 1 terabyte in that, with more storage available if your company grows. If you run low, let us know. We'll just increase it at no additional cost. I thought that was interesting for the company paid plans with those 5. So it's they are doing some interesting things. They're 15 gig free now. They're by far one of the most generous in all this, and so they're worth, if you're jumping into this a little bit, or if you haven't checked out Copy, that's not a bad way to go. Box is another one of those that's making a big run at the business. That's so Box just announced unlimited with an Office 365 subscription and some other stuff. Again, you'll have to look into all this stuff. I can't keep. There's so much data. There's no way I can have all the ins and outs, and I could even send things wrong. But Box is making a big jump, and they've also gone unlimited with some of those, with that Office subscription. So there's plenty of space out there.
And it will change, and that's why we have to go over it every once in a while. But there's one more option that we haven't talked about, and that's kind of roll your own. Now, I've got this thing that I haven't reviewed. It's the Western Digital MyCloud, which still has the plastic on it, Jim. I planned on reviewing that
You send it back, were you?
6 months ago. But, roll your own. And Synology is real popular with doing that. They have a service, and they just come out and say it. It's like Dropbox, but it's stored locally. And you can create users that can access that, and they come in through your router, your internet provider, and they get on that storage. So you could set up your parents if you had the bandwidth, you had the quotas. You could set someone to back up to your Synology, or vice versa. So, and just like this MyCloud, there's tons of other services out there that do this.
Yeah, no, there are a ton. It wouldn't be a home server show if I didn't mention the Drobo, right? They have the transporter that the company that took them over has got this transporter. And this same kind of idea, you attach the Drobo and the transporter together, and you can get access to your data and share it and, roll your own, basically. I'm moving all my movies over. We talked about that 2 weeks ago with Plex. And so there's lots. In fact, Sarah said to me, we're getting ready to go on vacation. And she's like, "Hey, so when we're on vacation, can I just view the movies on Plex on laptop?" And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't got that working yet outside of the network. I haven't punched those necessary holes to make that work." So I said, "No," and I don't think so. With tonight, I still have to pack, so I don't think that's going to happen tonight. But so just bring the DVD.
No, that's not happening tonight.
Just bring the DVD.
Punching all those holes, yeah.
Oh. Yeah, well, there's some interesting things certainly in that Synology and the NAS QNAP and some of those. They
all
services
have some sort of MyCloud, roll your own cloud solution. So
right,
they're all out there.
Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this up, Jim. I am at a balmy 107-degree surface temperature.
Can you feel the heat coming off the screen if you put your hands in front of it? Is it pretty?
No, you have to touch it, and it's hot.
Yeah.
It's hot. But if you think about it, it's literally only several more degrees than the skin that you're touching it with. So it's not. You think 107 degrees. You think you touch and go.
That's true.
Wow!
Yeah, that's true.
It's hot, but it's just warm.
Yeah.
Now, if you were holding that, which you're not, if you're holding that, it's going to be uncomfortable. But literally, it's almost the same temperature behind it, if not more. Watch out, I'm going to unplug myself.
Give you sweaty palms.
I'm going to shoot the back of it. And it's, look, the back of the case, 110.
Yeah,
so it's hotter.
Hot. That's hot.
So, it's all Google. This is all Google Hangouts doing this.
It's intense. I tell people if you're going to do this video conferencing stuff, you've got to make sure you have a little bit of horsepower to be able to pull it off. Although I did the Google Hangout the other day off a Galaxy S5, and it works great. The sound quality is awesome. The video quality was awesome. It was like, okay, so they're getting something right on the phones that
maybe I'll just start doing that.
Yeah. Run I had to get one of those little tripods that we should test this. This would be kind of cool because that's a good camera.
Why don't I just do that? And then you can still you can initiate the Hangout or join that. Or you can join the Hangout and then join it from another PC to record it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you could. Yeah, I don't know if you can start the recorded.
I don't think you can start.
You can't start an on-air Hangout off the phone. No, that's still not there yet.
My Google Plus.
You can join it, but I've made the upgrade. I made the upgrade a while back to this Core i7 4770, and it runs. It doesn't even breathe heavy on these kinds of Hangouts anymore. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, see, there's the on the OnePlus phone here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't see it because of the glare.
There you go. Yeah,
but you can see the Hangout is on there. I don't know if I could join it, but.
Well, the other day when we were podcasting and I was at work, I think this was 2 weeks ago when we did Home Server Show 2 weeks ago, and I jumped out I got done and you guys were going to Surface Geeks. I disconnected my Wi-Fi, went 4G, jumped in the car, and listened to you guys as far back as I could. I was getting you and Darren as far as I could until I got to a bad spot, and then it locked up. But that was not a bad experience to watch YouTube on the phone. With the sound, I could hear you guys. The video quality was pretty good, so not a bad way to consume the podcast live in the car en route.
Yeah. Well, good. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's what I did. Told you I'd listen. I was like, I'm going to try and listen on the way home. We'll see how it works. Because it just keeps getting better. That's the thing. A couple years ago, I remember trying it. We did these hangouts on the way, to and from the meetups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was just garbage. It was like, people would drop. If you recorded it, it would be like, doo-doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Yeah, people dropping in and out and stuff.
I still remember sitting in my car at the Wisconsin Dells, snowing outside, and I'm sitting in my car. We're Skyping and recording a podcast. I can't tell you what episode that was. I'm sure someone can figure that out.
Why did we do that in those days? We sacrificed
we had to podcast.
Everything.
And then remember, I was walking around that hotel that one time with my laptop.
People kept following you.
Yeah, people kept looking at me like, why is he talking to his laptop?
I know. Well, I think I've come live from the steps of the courtyard at USC.
USC, yeah.
Yeah, we did all kinds.
We've done it on planes. We've done it on trains.
Yeah, no, it's funny now. It's like, okay, let's just take the week off. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But in those early days, it was pretty. I mean, when we think about the state of podcasting and where podcasting has gone, it's gotten really mainstream to the point where when we first started doing this, Dave, it was cool. I mean, remember when we first went video and how like cutting edge that was, and there was nobody doing that.
There were streaming audio. People would come and just look at a website.
Yeah,
static website and listen to the voices.
Just listen to the voices. Like it's ham radio.
Yeah, and now it's just commonplace. People are on Google Plus Hangouts, just like it's nothing.
Well, and how quickly the expectations have changed too. I mean, remember our audio quality was awful in those. I mean, this wasn't very good, but you didn't know any better, right? I mean, you're hearing these voices through the computer or whatever, and you go back and listen to some of those, and you're like, oh, ouch, that's terrible.
Oh,
We'd
I
never
put
put
out
up with
some
that today.
horrible audio before. Yeah.
But so the expectations have come up. I was listening to some, I hang out in some podcaster circles, about podcasting. And they're like, oh, if they don't do this, I'm gone. And it's like, wow, how quickly we became intolerant to, if they don't get right to the point, if it's chit chat, I'm out of there. And it's like, wow, when did this get so big that, whatever, it changed the dynamic of it. So, well, I guess, I'll say, and I've said this on my own show, but man, you and I have been doing this a long time, and I'm super appreciative to everyone, the listener, who listens to us in the car or takes us on the lawnmower, or listens to us on vacation, or whatever you do. Dave and I and John before us, Chris Lux before that, have been doing this for a long time, and the fact that you still listen every week is still pretty amazing to me. I go, wow. And we've got, I don't know, about 15 in chat?
I don't even know.
Yeah,
it's trailed off since we've trailed off. There's 15 in chat. There's 9 on YouTube. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate if you're listening, I appreciate you for listening to us. It's great to
absolutely
have you part of our network.
I'll ditto that sentiment. And some of these guys they've been with me since like 2008.
I know.
When I used to preach on a soapbox, and they used to email me, "Preach on, Dave."
Oh, now we've just been beaten into submission.
Yep. All right. What is that? 265.
Amazing.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Most of all, thanks for joining us out there in the forums. Don't forget that Jim and I are trying to get this fledgling Geeks Network set up, geeksnetwork.com. We are a member of that network. Go out there and check out all the podcasts. It'd be just me and Jim right now. But, hey, we're trying to get her going.
Something.
All right. It's been 265. Thanks, Jim.
Good seeing you, Dave.
See you. See you in the forums. Thanks, YouTubers.
Hey, you want me to help you with that page?
Yeah, you know what? I was gonna
that
let's
network
hang up
page?
here, and then I've got a list I want to start,
Okay.
and maybe we'll just drop you some admin rights.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today. Because I'm on the front end of my podcast. I've been complaining about it. You know, I've been like, you can go to thegeeksnetwork.com, but the page doesn't go anywhere. But we're gonna fix it.
Yeah.
Dave is gonna fix it. And then I thought, hey, jackass, why don't you offer to fix it?
Yeah. No. It's just I've been crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, I literally
Yeah.
been just crazy busy. And you said this 3 years ago, maybe. He's like, Dave, you got those kids.
Yeah.
And I know they're crawling around biting your ankles right now, but someday they're going to be throwing baseballs at your head.
Yeah.
And they
for
are.
Sure. No, you're in the thick of it for sure. I mean, you're in
Yeah.
the worst part. You're in the best part of it. Let's just
True.
Let's be 100% honest.
Yeah.
But it really is hard to. My kids, they sleep until noon and they don't even like me anymore. And so,
Exactly. They don't want to see you.
Yeah, like Dad.
Today
away.
I'm in a canoe with my kids,
Yeah.
canoeing down a river,
Yeah, no,
and
that's
then we're
cool.
shooting BB guns and doing all kinds of cool
Yeah.
stuff. So it's changed. Everything has changed.
Rob, no Surface Geeks tonight. We're just a home service show.
Yeah, we're not.
Thanks for hanging out, though.
The first 5 minutes, go back and watch, and you can listen to me bitch about my Surface Pro 3.
More like 15, but
Okay, 15.
yeah.
Everybody
Rob,
else will.
go back to the beginning of this show, and it was basically a Surface Geeks
Exactly.
podcast.
I might tweet that tomorrow.
That
You
was
need
pretty
Surface
good.
Geeks? Listen to the front of this show.
Listen
It'll
to the
get you.
front end of the home service show. That's it's there. It's
Yeah.
it's you. It's all you.
All right, guys. So we'll sign off. We'll
You want me to hang on, right? We're going to chat for a minute.
actually let me end this so I can get the YouTube processing, and then I'll
Oh.
just call you back.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay.
Call you back on this.
All
thing.
right. See you guys in chat, man. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Good night, guys. This button right here.